Thank you for joining us for our new series. One of the things that is interesting about my family is my son can be pretty picky. He's not somebody who likes much flavor. To him, bland is better. But even in the midst of his bland palate, there's one thing that's required with French fries, rice, whatever. It's salt. That is the only non-negotiable season for him. But he's also a kid, right? And so there's other things that he's afraid of than flavor. I always know where he is in the house because I was the same way when I was a kid. Every light is on. So I can see where he's been because there will be a trail of lights behind him. Because that's what makes him feel safe. And that's what our series is about, being salt and being light. These are non-negotiables for us as Christians. It's what we're called to by Jesus. So let's read our verse. This is really our intro. We will spend a lot more time talking about the individual aspects of being salt and light and how that, what that means for us in our relation to God, relation to our communities, and things like that. But here's our verse, Matthew 5:13-16. You are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who's in heaven. So to frame this passage, we are in Matthew chapter 5, which is just going after the Beatitudes. And the Beatitudes are the start to the Sermon on the Mount. This is the longest, probably greatest sermon we'll ever see, right? This is what Jesus preached. But who's he saying this to? So yes, there's a crowd there, but he is preaching specifically to his disciples. That is who he's talking to. So if you get this picture, Jesus had been doing his thing in the cities. He's withdrawing with his disciples onto a mountaintop. And people were gathering around this to hear him preach. And why? This is very weird to us, but this is not weird to them. Any public gathering with a rabbi, there would be lots of people, be it meals, parties, anywhere there was a teacher, people would just gather to listen. So even though Jesus is talking to his disciples at the moment, it's being heard by all these people around them. And that's why this is so important. He is telling the disciples who they're going to reach after his ascension. So what is he telling them? Right now, you are to be the salt and the light. For who? The group of people gathered around us. And so the question for us is, who are disciples today? Are we disciples? If we are disciples, just like his disciples, we are called to fulfill this. So what is salt? Why did that matter? It had two major functions in the ancient world. Number one, it is a preserver. It kept things from spoiling and from rotting. Number two, it was an enhancer. It gave flavor to food. Salt was so valuable in the ancient world, there were literal battles fought over access to salt. Now, salt could be misused as well, but that's for another video. Today, our salt is chemically pure, right? We have iodized salt. They did not have that. So when Jesus is saying, hey, if your salt gets diluted, what is it good for? That is because that is normal in their world. So if I wanted to really hurt somebody after a battle, right? Let's say we're the winners, we're the victors. And one of the things they would do is they would take the salt of that community that they wouldn't take back home, or they would do this just to be mean. They would dilute this salt with water. That way it couldn't be used for anything because theirs wasn't pure. It was mixed with other things from the sea, from the mines in which it was taken. We don't have that today. Today our salt maintains. But it would lose its ability to preserve and to enhance. And if you look today, what is he telling them? When we allow our environment, our sinfulness to overtake us, and we immerse our salt, our ability to preserve, and enhance into this evil, it will dilute our purpose. It will dilute our ability to do the thing God has called us to do. We are to do this not for ourselves. Salt does not need anything to be salt. Salt is only useful when it's being used in its purpose. That's why we as Christians can't withdraw from society. We are to be preservers and enhancers of the world around us. And that's what we're called to. But when we let sin and we allow the enemy in and we lose our quote unquote testimony because we are losing our saltiness, we're going to lose the ability to fulfill this mission in our lives. And so Jesus uses another analogy. He says, look, you are the light. Light of what? The light of the world. We are in the kingdom of light amidst a kingdom of darkness. Our job is to light up the darkness, not to withdraw from it. Our job is to, quote unquote, conquer the darkness. Now, that's not a political statement. That is not us saying we go and enforce anything. It is saying we go and we be present in the dark places. Because it says you are a city set on a hill. Get it? If you get the picture, we don't necessarily have this because we have lights everywhere, right? On the highway, on our roads. But that's not the way it was in the ancient world. See, in the ancient world, the only places that had lights were cities. So get this picture. Jesus is showing, hey, you are preservers and enhancers of the crowds, of the people around you, but you're also a city set on a hill. So you've been traveling a long time. You're going through the desert, you're going through the forest, you're getting tired, you're getting hungry, you're getting thirsty, you're looking around saying, man, do I have enough supplies? Are we gonna make it? And then off in the distance, you see a flicker. There's a city. We're gonna make it. We can make it to that city. It can be our refuge. That is who we are supposed to be as Christians. A refuge for those lost in the darkness. That when they're lost, hungry, tired, broken, beaten, and they say, where am I going to go? They see the city set on a hill. They look ahead and say, there, that's where I want to go. That will be my refuge. But notice what he says. He says, look, if you are a city, you can't even be hidden. People are going to see you, look at you, and want to be around you, period. Now, we can mess up that testimony, but that doesn't mess up the fact that God is still in us. So in the midst of all our brokenness, God can do anything. I saw this myself. When the first mission trips I took as an adult, I was 18 years old. I went to Panama. And I was excited because I was like, no more shenanigans, right? I don't have to deal with teenagers. I can deal with adults, and this is going to be amazing. Boy, was I wrong. We get out, and the guys are cussing. They're arguing with the locals. We're with the Imbeta people in Panama. They are one of the largest native groups to the Panamanians. And there were no Christians but one in this village. The chief's son had gotten saved because he went to college to get a business degree to help them sell their plantains. And he called us out there for help, the church I was at. And so I'm so mad. They're cussing with them. They're fighting they're arguing with the locals. And I just kept thinking, this is the worst trip I ever been on. I don't even want to be here. I'm going to do my work and I'll be done. And I was so upset. And they're fighting with our group leader, who was like one of my friend's dads. And we get to the end of the trip. We all been working hard, been messing it all up. The entire village accepted Christ. And I remember thinking, I have no idea what God does and what's going on. Because at the heart of these men, amidst all the crassness, amidst all the stuff, they truly were there to serve God. The ladies who were arguing with the locals were there to serve God. And God used us in the most mighty way I've ever been a part of. Why? Because God's light shines through us, period, because we are His. Because we are His. And how do we hold on? Because one of the things that is true of life is incredibly difficult. We live in a very dark, a very evil world. And what does it want more than anything is to snuff out our light. But what does Jesus say? He goes, God didn't make you light to be snuffed out. Don't let them do that. So if there's something that's telling you, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to serve God anymore, I don't want to make a difference anymore, I don't want to trust anymore, I don't want to care anymore, that's not God. God didn't give us light to then cover it. He says, trust me and I will shine through you. And what happens when God shines through us? That they will see our good works and glorify our Father who's in heaven. People don't see God. They're lost in the darkness. They're lost in sin. God is separate from sin. He's holy. So what can they see? Us. And trust me, I know what it's like to feel like your light is going to be snuffed out. Don't let the enemy take that from you. Don't let the enemy make you afraid. There's stuff that we all have to work through. There's stuff that takes time. But don't get your light snuffed out. He doesn't have the authority to do that. God did not call us out to stop. He called us out to live amidst the darkness, to be the light and to be the salt, so that they would see our good works and glorify our Father who's in heaven. That opens the door. They see how we live and they say, man, there's something different about that. Man, I really want that. I just watched a video just earlier this week. A young lady, she's kind of making her ways around the Jubilee Debate Sphere, whatever podcast. And she was on a debate of 1 pro-choice versus 20 pro-life. She's the pro-choicer. And she put out a video afterwards saying, number 1, how polite and respectful all the ladies were. It was all ladies, so it was 20 ladies, 1 lady pro-choice, 20 pro-life. Said they were so respectful. It was a great debate. People didn't make it personal. People didn't hate her. And she was, afterwards, they were all talking. And she's like, honestly, the vibes are great. We were all really enjoying our time together. And then she said, I was telling them that I was really struggling to find money to move to my new apartment. And immediately they all pulled money together for me. And she said, it's not because they gave me money. It's because we could disagree on something so contentious and they love me. And she said this, I'm never going to say it publicly again, but I was wrong. You can disagree and not hate each other. She says the vibes were great. And she just said, I'm so thankful. My views aren't changed of that topic, but my views of people changed just a little bit. That's what this looks like. They didn't solve anything for her. They also didn't change her mind, but they showed Christ, the light of God. They didn't show vitriol and hate, like, how could you, blah, 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 blah. They just said, we disagree, and I love you anyway. And this affected her so much, she put a video out just saying, thank you. Thank you for what you did. And that is how we can reach a lost and dark world. We may not have the answers. That's part of why we do the Big Conversation series, so we can help at least think through them. But one thing you and I, your children, grandparents, whether you're 6, 16, or 60, we can all do this. We can all just commit to be disciples who are the salt and light of the earth. And we will spend more and more time talking about those topics, explaining how God works through them, how we can utilize that. But this is the very basic premise. This is the whole thing. We do this for one reason. One, so that people will see our good works and glorify our Father who's in heaven. So I want to thank you for being a part of this study. If you have any questions or anything that you need, you can reach out to me at staff@newday416.church. If you want to take any next steps, whether that's baptism, more church information, you can go to newday416.church. If you want to help us out, you can give online. You can leave us a Google review that just helps people in our area find us when they Google churches near me. And we don't do that just so we can look and say, oh, how great and big our church is. We do that because I really believe in the gospel, and I believe God works through our community as salt and light. So I want to thank you all. We love you. Have a blessed and wonderful week, and we'll see you on Sunday.